So this is Julian.
Hi, Richard.
Julian and I met down the Main River. It was in the park, Ring Park.
Mm-hmm.
You were playing with some girl. She had one of those too, and another key, right? What was her name?
Nancy.
Nancy, very cute. Anyway, so I invited both of them to do something, but Nancy's got a boyfriend, right? To our Chagrin. Sie hat schon einen Freund und also lange Rede, kurzer Sinn. Und das nächste Mal, dass wir uns getroffen haben, war unten am Main. Yeah, was down on the Main River. I came along and we started playing, and then a lot of people gathered around and wanted to find out what we're doing, ask you about your instrument. So Julian is a physiotherapeut, or what do you call you? You're actually a Krankenpfleger? Or
Krankenpfleger, ja. Gesundheits- und Krankenpfleger.
Okay, that's the guy that takes care of people that are sick and are invalid, and he helps them, older people, a lot of them?
Ja, auch.
Oh,
Teilweise.
okay. And so that's his main squeeze, that's his job. But he likes to jam on this, I call it the UFO instrument, that's why I call him Julian Space Cowboy. With his UFO unidentified flying object kind of thing. That's more the sound that that you get actually from the Knight Rider. Remember we were playing a little Knight Rider?
Ja.
Recently.
Yes.
You want to tell the people here in TV land or there in große weite Welt what this instrument really is about? You can speak German, because you're not speaking English, you don't want to. What is that?
Es ist eine Handpan, oder Hangdrum auch genannt, wurde irgendwo um 2000 von den Schweizern, Panart, Instrument erfunden.
You want to show the underside of it? So that's what it looks like.
Körper eben mit Loch.
Yeah.
Für etwas.
And it's basically a resonating room there. Basically,
Genau.
I would call it a steel drum inverted with a small resonance.
Richtig, ist eigentlich so
Steel
wie eine
drum,
Steel Drum umgedreht mit Deckel und Loch.
Yeah, so is this.
Genau. Die ist jetzt aus Spanien von Soyuz.
Do you know how the steel drum music started, basically?
Nein.
Well, it was in Trinidad, Caribbean.
Ja, auf
Where
jeden
they
Fall.
had, maybe even Venezuela, they had a lot of oil happening there, and a drum, and if you heat up the lid of a drum, it caves in a little bit, and then if you heat up specific parts of it, you get different intonations happening, different frequencies. And you want to go through the frequencies here so everybody can hear what this is about?
Hier ist denn jetzt meine Markierung?
Okay.
Also ich habe immer gerne den tiefsten Ton einfach am Bauch.
Okay, of course. So it's kind of a hypnotic kind of a scale.
Genau.
That really, I think, brings you into a certain amount of almost trance-like Ebene, or level of feelings and being, and it's a very good basis to improvise. People like Davis used to use kind of thing, Miles Davis, but also all kinds of composers have used this, even back into the ancient times of Asiatic music. The pentatonic scale, for example, is Chinese, and actually the Chinese emperor had a protector of the pentatonic purity. It was a position in his court. Somebody protected the purity of the pentatonic scale. That was his position. He was what the Germans called a Beamter, or he was like a ward of the state. He had a minister, the minister of purity of the sound of the pentatonic scale for the yeah, it's not a joke.
Ja, glaube ich.
And that's pretty wild. And basically, there is no such thing as a wrong note in a pentatonic scale. It's just 5 notes, and they all work together, and you add any order and whatever. And also here, how many notes is that you're playing again?
8 plus 1.
So it's 9 notes?
Genau.
Go ahead. So you get this sort of a sus4 underneath. Want to play it again? Boom, doo, doo, boom. Go from the low into a higher one. No, the lowest one.
The lowest.
And then back and forth. No, from the low. Next one. So it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool, and that's why I like the sound, and people love it because it carries a long way without being offensive and aggressive. So when I met Julian, Space Cowboy, downstairs, down at the Main River, sitting on the grass there, I came up with the trumpet. I had to have had it over my shoulder. I was practicing down there some boring stuff. And we started jamming, and that's how we got together, right?
So ist es.
And then he likes to play baseball too. I even taught him how to play baseball a little bit. We had a little baseball game. And then I got bitten by a bee that day and had to go to the hospital, remember?
Ja.
So it was pretty...
Dein Arm ist angeschwollen.
Yeah, like
Ganz
Popeye.
furchtbar.
It was like Popeye, but it went away. So I'm going to get a dämpfer or a little mute here. I got some really special things. I invented this on tour with the Bamberger Symphoniker, because everybody wanted to sleep in the afternoon with the orchestra on tour, and I wanted to practice. So this is about as soft a mute as you can get. There's no tricks about it, except it's just a sock that I put through an Alessi Bacchiano Harmon mute. Oh, wait a second. It's been beaten up pretty badly. It's about 45 years old, at least. I brought it from Canada or the States. Now we got a fan going on here, which causes a little bit of vibration or a little bit of fluctuation in the sound. But like all the other YouTubes I've done, I really don't care if you think I'm great or not, or whatever. I'm just showing you what it's possible for maybe you to do. This is not about me, it's about you. And this is not about us, it's about what's possible. We're going to do some, actually we're preparing for a concert, right?
Tun wir?
Aren't we?
Tun
wir. And that's going to happen in the summer at the Schützenhof Terrasse, which is a sort of it's a restaurant terrace with a view over Würzburg. The air is great up there, which we both like,
Mhm.
And because you have asthma, right?
Bitte?
You have asthma, right?
Nein.
Don't you? I do. I have asthma, so I really
Aber
like
ich
clean.
mag's da trotzdem.
What's that?
Sehr schön dort, die Luft ist sehr
Yeah,
rein.
it's really great. It's really great. Luft is very important. I like it to breathe with, and I do it quite regularly, breathing stuff. So to make a long story short, I like to play very softly with this mute when I play with Julian. So Julian, we talked about a certain form that we're going to develop a piece, an improvisation with for these little concerts. You're going to be one of 4 or 5 different constellations that I'm doing stuff there. We're going to be going through the day today with different people that are going to be involved with the Schützenhof concerts under Gudrun Berndt. She owns Schützenhof, and it's a fantastic place. Very, very natural, very, you can drink beer there and eat Schweinshaxen and things like that, but also cultivated, it's not just Schweinshaxen, she has a very cultivated Küche or kitchen there. And by the way, you don't have any time this afternoon because she's invited us. You have to work, right?
Das weiß ich noch nicht. Ich habe noch nicht
Okay.
geguckt.
Well, it would be cool if you came back at like 4:30 or 4 o'clock. And Mike, you're invited too. Mike, the cameraman, you're invited too if you'd like to go up there. She's invited us.
Cool.
It's very cool. And I'm going to take the saxophone and saxophone and guitar player that are going to come from 2 until 3:30 this afternoon. But I'll introduce them later. So, but what about this little riff that we invented? 4 bars, 2 bars, and 2 bars. You want to play that? So we get an idea. Structure is everything in music, and basically, even though Julian knows very rudimentary but fundamental things about music, and it's a very good sound and very good rhythm feeling, structures of music. form of music is very important if you're going to improvise over a certain structure so that we know what we're doing. So yesterday we talked about this form. You want to play a 4-2-2-Takt?
Ich glaube schon, dass
Do you
ich mich
remember?
erinnere, dass das
Do you
der hier
remember
war,
how that
oder?
goes?
Ich sitze nicht so
That's
prickelnd.
fine. Great, okay. So that the listener gets the idea. Fantastic, Julian. So the listener gets the idea. He plays, first of all, he stays on this one chordal riff, then he moves to the second and then the third. The first one is redoubled, and then the second is singular, and the third is singular, and then he goes back to the double riff. So you want to do it again? Okay, and so because he's very good at that, he's very capable of understanding how that can be put together. It's not that he wasn't doing this before, but what I helped him do is making it in a structure so that we can understand each other. The language of music requires structure. The language of music requires very specific ideas about form. And without form, it's not possible to communicate in an improvisational way, because improvisation demands that you have structure. The greatest structures allow the greatest freedoms, because it's a basis of communication. The better you can speak the English or German language, the better we can communicate. But I think that's the end of our first YouTube this morning. There are only less than 15 minutes. If we do more than 15 minutes, it means it has to be registered in some, I don't know, it's another world. But Mike told me that it's smarter just to do less, and most people don't have an attention span of any more than 15 minutes at the best of times. So that's all for this first YouTube today in my studio with Julian. What's your last name again, Julian? I forgot. Vorndran. Vorndran. It means the first. The guy up front. Vorndran. He's the guy that's in the first. Pole position. Pole position, Julian and Richard. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll see us again in the next YouTube with preparation for concerts up on the Schützenhof Terrasse.